Okay. So, tell me when you're ready to. I want to introduce some of the younger kids that maybe you haven't seen in a long time. And as you know, I had two brothers, which is Reuben and Eddie boy, and Reuben's son. Remember, everybody remembers Reuben? Is Joseph right there, Joseph Otto. And Eddie's son is Eddie Laura. And he's right here. And Eddie's boys, introduce your family, Eddie.
This is my son right here, Jonathan.
Hello,
Jonathan. And that's my daughter over there, Jalen.
Jonathan and Jalen. And Joseph's son. Waylon, say hi. That's Joseph's son right there, everybody. The little right there, Joseph. So it started from my mom, and then me, then Reuben and Eddie, and then the boys, and now the grandkids. So there's multi-generations here, which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
The daughter.
And then
Oh my God.
Sadie, Reuben, and Eddie. And Marty, introduce Marty to everybody.
This is my daughter, Marty.
Does everybody know Marty? And then now we have also here Mary, and Mary's son James. And James, introduce your family. James, tell me all about the names of all your family members.
Oh, shoot. We'll be here for an hour.
Just a couple, just your son.
Mom and Terry and of course Lada and we all knew each other since we were. Me, Remy, and Sandy were born at the same time, almost the same month.
And I used to babysit both of them.
We used to
Happy and I.
babysit.
Yes. Yeah, no, I'm not kidding.
So me, Sandy and Remy were like three. So we used to, when I got a little older, Sandy was my girlfriend for 1 week, and then Remy was next week.
That's funny.
I want to kiss my cousins.
I live in the corner, you know, on Magnolia, not on Magnolia. And the big house was over here. There was a house with, you know, old people lived there. And she would get out, take the anchor out, cross the street to my house.
Ernie would do that all the time?
Army?
Army or
Army.
okay.
Army. We went out across the street. We have been talking about it for years.
We walk across the street.
So real quick, so Terry and Lada had one brother older than me, and he died in 1972. He was only 15, but Terry and Lada were godparents.
That's fantastic.
Bring back memories. And he died in 72.
I remember that. That was a very sad day for everybody.
It was a day of, you know, that I was thinking, because remember,
Roger.
died,
Roger.
your other brother died, my son died, who else?
And your,
There's my other son died.
and your dad and mom were the ones that told me about your birthday.
I know.
And Roger got sick on a Friday afternoon at Christmas Eve. And we're walking up from school to the train, and he said my stomach hurt. So we got home, my dad and mom rushed him to the Memorial Hospital in Long Beach. Then Terry, your dad, mom, dad came to the house to watch it all and left. All my sisters and me. And then my brother passed away that night. And your mom and dad are the ones that told me that my brother just passed away. That was in 72.
Wow.
So the rest of my family is
You don't remember?
I do, 72. I didn't know the date, but I do remember.
Yeah, Christmas Eve, 1972.
When I graduated.
Your mom and dad were taking care of us all the time. Yeah, too, so.
They helped me
All the time.
with the funeral. You guys were all like, you know, like that. And you guys were good. Of course, James is always taking the lead with the kids. And I think Chabela, Roma, and used to take care of you guys because they were great. And she got the girl. They were nice. And Porter, oh, I love Porter too. They were really nice, and we were always together. And we went to the restaurant, we'd all go there. And then we have dancing, we were very good friends for a long time until, you know, we sort of separated because different places, you know. And we were all together all the time. We had our babies, and Lara was a man that a sweet man. I love him. He loved your mother. He was nice with everybody. He don't fight, no set them down, and you know, he was very nice and always helping somebody. And you know, and after my husband died, later after that year, it was early because Ruben died, the other brother died, and my son died, and what else happened?
That's good.
Nothing else. It was, you know, and terrible. They're calling you, and they weren't sick or nothing, and all of a sudden, it was there. Oh, it was terrible.
That was a rough time for everybody, I remember.
Yeah, it was so bad.
Just one thing after the other, but.
Hey, this is my younger brother. Flowers.
Hey,
This is the flowers.
Getting counting in the
but there's a
family.
vase over there. There's a vase over there, Nate. In the corner by the.
It's been a while to get here.
Good to see you. Okay, so now as we move along, we have, we'll have some introductions for the panel quickly because we want to talk about Del Rio. But I can already see that we want to do this again because there's a lot of stories that we want to put on film. But now we're gonna go to, let's start with Connie and how did you get to know the family, your husband Mario, just really like super quick because we gotta go through everybody. And then
Well, I'm from Del Rio because I used to go there every summer, and my parents are from there, and I married, my husband Mario's from Del Rio. But I was born in Eagle Pass, which is our rival. But anyway, I was born there, but I was 3 months old when we moved to LA, and I grew up here in California. And I started doing Tere and Blanca's hair when I was 14 years old.
wow.
My mom and dad used to party with them, and of course I wasn't allowed to party because I was a kid. I think I babysitted Sadie and Rudy while they partied. But anyway, make a long story short, I was married 50 years, and my husband passed away, and his good friend Arturo, who went to school with him, is now taking care of me.
All right.
And I live in Corona. I live in
Way to step up, Neil.
I live in Corona with my children, and we've been there 25 years. We were very close to the Laras and all the other families, and your dads, knew them, great people. And I go to Oceanside every weekend to party with Arturo. And that's about it. Here I am partying.
Neil, really quick, tell us a little bit.
Yeah, we came in 1959. And Sadie had just been born, and things got really rough in Del Rio, San Felipe, where we lived. We didn't have work. My mother, Taya, didn't have work, and she wanted to be close to her daughter, of course, Tere. So we came to California with my stepfather, Gilberto. Le gustaba mucho, you know. And he came, when he brought us over, he was drunk. He started drunk in Del Rio, and sobered up by the time we got to California. So we ended up in San Diego, and we loved it there. And we thought we were gonna go to San Jose, because I thought that's where Tere was, because Tere and Lara had been in San Jose, living in San Jose, working in the canneries. And we were all prepared to work to the canneries or wherever. So we ended up in Bellflower, right next to the Aragon family. Art Aragon lived right next to Tere and Lara, and we all piled up in this little duplex there. And believe it or not, I ended up going to 4 high schools here in California.
That's why you're so smart.
Yeah, 4 high school, Bellflower High School, Poly High School, and I ended up at Wilson High School. But, things were really rough, but we happened to just somehow or another make it together. We met the Martinez family. They were already here. Well, not the Martinez, your family, the Fuentes family was already here. They were here.
Martinez is Marshall.
Yeah, Martinez would be
Marshall and
and Mario and all the other boys. We happened to be here at the same time as the Fuentes family, and I got to again see the Martinez family over here. And when I'd go to parties, me chave loco, Yeah.
So we had an eye there.
Yeah, I tell you.
But not at the beginning, cause I had to babysit while you guys partied.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed.
She wasn't allowed to party with the adults.
Yeah.
Double standards back then.
Yeah, yeah.
Men could go, the women had to stay home. So that changed.
But I remember taking care of Sadie when they would go out too. At times, I'd have to take her. She was a baby, and I loved her so much, and I still love her so much.
Thank you, Tim. I love you too.
And anyway, basically that's how we ended up together. There were about maybe 6 families from Texas. Most of them were from San Felipe del Rio, but the Morales and several other families were from San Antonio. So we all gathered as family from Texas. And I think to support each other and to look for jobs and to look out for each other, including the Porter family, and then of course Nati and Saveda, came into the picture. They came, a couple of years later, huh?
No, I was here already with the Porter family.
You were
Remember,
already
I'm
here.
Porter too.
How about Nati?
I was 62.
62, yeah, so
Yeah.
it was Nati. It came a little bit later. So we all got together,
Thank you, Theo. And, Blanca, Queenie, tell us a little bit about how you, just real quick, how you got to know my mom and dad and the family. And I've heard a lot of stories about you and my mom getting out, going out, partying, getting jumping the fences. Well, dancing with party would be at
the Chugas.
at the Catholic
Guadalupe.
dance. That's a party. You guys would dance at Mom?
Did we?
No.
They don't remember that.
They don't remember.
Remember you told me you used to go to, they'd have dances and the nuns would say,
Oh, no, we had dances at the gym.
yeah.
And Lara, when we met Lara and Lee.
Oh, but
And I
it's
said,
We also have them
In
at
San
the
Felipe.
Territa and
What?
back of the houses.
Yeah.
At the we used to have
At that
dances.
time,
they call it what, Blanca?
yeah,
What they call
we
it?
got together
The
in different houses
Tapachitos.
We
went
to the-
played records and danced.
And how did you get to know my mom?
Because
She only had a Mexican band.
At that time, she didn't go with me.
Oh, she did?
How did you
How'd you get to meet her?
Because I went where Lee used to live in,
Chihuahua.
I wanna say Calaveras, but it's.
Filipinas.
In las Filipinas.
Filipinas.
Mhm.
And that's where you met my mom?
We lived at the Rincon.
Yeah.
We left in Magnolia Street.
Rincón del Diablo. That's where I live.
Oh, that's, where you lived, it was called Rincón del Diablo. Why did they call it that? Because it's so hot?
San Felipe has a lot of names.
Calaveras.
La Novena Cruz, Calaveras,
Rincón.
Puerto Rico, Filipinas,
Comalías.
Wow.
And those are individual, not individual, but those are barrios.
Small barrios, all that.
Small barrios under the umbrella of el barrio de San Fe.
Yeah.
Okay?
Under
The umbrella of San Felipe.
Okay, Mom, tell me how you got to meet, well, tell me how'd you meet Dad, or first time you met Dad?
Oh my God.
Susto.
Remember the bicycle he used to ride down the street?
No, I can't.
Oh, another. How did I meet him?
You said he was dating your friend.
Oh, he was dating my friend Maria Elena. Maria Elena Castro, remember?
Yeah.
He was dating my friend Maria Elena Castro. And, yeah, and then, there was a Jamaica. Yeah. And we went to the Jamaica. And Lara saw me. And left Maria Elena and came to me. And I said, Maria Elena's my friend. Get out of here. Don't get near me. And Lara says, I want to be with you. I goes, you can't be with me. Go be with your friend. And he wouldn't. He kept following me all around the plaza, by 50 times. Remember? And I didn't want to have nothing to do with you because Maria Elena was my best friend, one of my best friends.
¿Y luego?
So he didn't take no for an answer. The night went on and I went to Juanita's house and the next day he was on the car.
He was driving at what age?
He was driving at 14 years old. In the green car. Like passing to Juanita's house and honking.
Remember when I started driving around the mall?
Honking and honking, yeah. Oh my God, he wouldn't give up. He wouldn't give up.
My brother would hit
And
the
Juanita
car
said,
and I'd go
¿por qué
take
está
it.
pasando este carro verde por aquí? Yo no sé, abuelita. Dime la verdad.
Oh, yeah.
Dime la verdad. I don't know, pero no sé, abuelita. Yo ni lo conozco. And then I was outside one day and Lara passed and he stopped. I almost died. I almost died. I said, vete. Ahorita viene abuelita.
Estos cabrones.
She's gonna kick
Oh,
And Lara
she
says,
was mean.
venga que venga, yo le digo que yo soy tu novio. Tú no eres mi novio. I didn't want anybody to know because they would get mad at me. We were not allowed to have a
We
boyfriend.
were not allowed
I was only
to
14.
hear it, you know, have a boyfriend.
I'm trying to say, que va a salir por.
We didn't even say that. I think guys went around when we got to be very good friends. I think you got married before me or me before you, one or the other. Yeah. So,
Rudy, how old are you?
But Lara,
I mean, when were you born?
70.
When were you born?
54.
Huh?
54.
Okay, so they probably got to marry in 53.
I got married in 53.
53 or, you know, they're close.
So,
Yeah, okay, that's what we're gonna call you.
Mary started this off. I think everyone's talked about Sylvia and Nat, and then we, tell us a little bit about your, how you got to meet Theo and everybody else, and just kind of real quick, and my mom, just tell us a little bit about yourself. You and Nat.
Well, yeah,
we left, we thought we were like village or whatever, but we were in San Antonio, Uvalde, Canada, and we thought, oh my God, we're going so far, and we are nobody, and so right away they noticed that the guys were working, and they knew John, my husband, my brother. Who are you? My son. He's
your
my
oldest.
son. And by the way, he's a pastor.
Yeah, he's amazing.
A very
Forgive her, Lord, she doesn't know what she says.
He's a pastor about 30 years. We had a church, and then
And your dad built that church with you?
kind of tired, you
What?
know,
How cool
Yes.
is that?
because he
Dad
also
found
worked.
out I was building the church, and he said, you know, you need some help. He came over, we took over.
Oh my God.
Building
I didn't even know that.
The building still stands.
Yeah, it's still
Wow.
there.
Well, you gotta take me to it.
Yeah, sure, we can take you too.
Yeah, and Theo, you, quickly a little bit about yourself, and then we're gonna ask a few questions about Del Rio, and then we're gonna play the movie.
Okay, well, it can be quick. No, your tío, what the llama? Your mother. Arturo. Your tío Arturo. You know, I knew him from the time I was probably 11, maybe 10 years old. Because he used to hang out with Javier and other kids, right? Javier is my brother. And we all played at the plaza, you know, which was the center, the heart of San Felipe. Everybody went there. You can't say Del Rio because Del Rio was kind of in half. But all around the plaza were all the businesses, you know, and most of them were cantinas, of which my dad had one, and he had a restaurant, and so that's how my mom and dad made a living, and so that's how I met Arturo, and then too I found out that he was a brother to my sister-in-law, and I met her one time. She was beautiful, and she was walking down the playa eating ice cream, and Lara was there with her. And I just thought she was the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen. And I really loved her. I really loved her. And as time has gone on and she married Lara, she was kind of a mentor for me. You know, she got me into dancing tap. I could dance ballet. And she taught me a lot of etiquette, which I didn't have. And, you know, I just got to be so jungle type, you know, out there. How to behave myself as a young lady. That's right. And so, yeah, so then the day came when we left. I went to La Escuela Maria, which is, ¿cómo se llama?
Which they tore down.
La Escuela Maria. A Maria. They said a Maria because it was yellow. But that's not the name of it. It was Houston, wasn't it?
Well, I don't know, they named it after we left, so.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, those
Oh,
was-
okay.
San
So,
Felipe was the only high school, the only one that had.
yeah. But times were really bad. I lived right across. This is, you know, the school, and this is my house right there. All I had to do was just skip and jump, and I was there. But we were living in a restaurant. That's how bad it got. We were living in a restaurant, and a friend of my dad's who owned that building rented it to my dad and me. I mean, and my mom. Yeah. And then I remember when Terry came to California, we took care of Eddie. He stayed with us for a long time. And then I think I was taking care of Rudy, right?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That was when you were baby.
And then who had Ruben?
And Ruben,
We don't know.
Lupe had Ruben. Lupe had Ruben. Lupe
I
had
had
Ruben.
Really?
Ruben lived with us for a long time.
And then Ruben lived with you for a while
You had
too.
Ruben?
Yes.
She had Ruben.
Me and him shared a bedroom, that's why I
Didn't
remember.
you wanted to come?
You shared a bedroom with him?
Yeah,
Couple
you
years.
could come. And
Wow.
Yeah, he was like my,
we
my
would not
bodyguard,
drop
my
the
big
windows.
brother.
yeah.
Yeah, the
Do
same
you
room.
hear me?
Oh, yeah.
And no, you go
How old
to the
were
door, you don't jump, and then come into the window.
that's right.
10, 9.
Well,
Okay, Mary,
yeah.
I have
No,
no
that's
problem
because
with
you
it.
wasn't born yet.
I wasn't born
We
yet.
had a good time.
But it's so nice to hear because, you know, it goes back in history, but you said Dickie.
Yeah.
Because nobody calls you Dickie anymore.
Ah.
Back then, they always called me Dickie.
You guys haven't changed.
I remember, little Eddie always around your house.
Oh, he loved us. When we
He
brought
was
him to
with you.
California, he did not want to go with his parents. And he cried and he cried and he
He
cried.
would
It was really
always
hard.
be there playing, you know, in front of the house.
We took care of him all the time.
And he played with us, we played with him. 'Cause we were the big guys, the bigger boys.
Eduardo, my dad, Rodolfo Porter.
And then he would just be,
Ajá, sí.
and then he would just
Sí,
be
mamá
singing
Concha.
us, you
He
know,
used
and
to drive
we'd
the
stop and
Magnolia
play,
bus.
or we had a
Oh,
piece of
yeah,
candy
for many
bar.
years.
Go over there and he would honk the bus. And I said, oh,
I
there you go.
remember him better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But,
And
you
then,
know-
of course, then Rudy was with us.
Ruben?
uh-huh.
No, Rudy, you.
Oh, I was with you too.
Yeah, you were with us, yeah. For what was it, so?
I don't know, when Ted
3 years or
said
something?
to my dad, come to California, we have work here, there's work here, come to California. And so Ted didn't have to go get him, she wanted to come and get her kids, but we decided to go.
Yeah. And then
We
after
packed
that-
up and we left.
Did you bring all the boys?
No, she just brought me.
No.
She brought me in 1962. I said, I'm going with you.
You're not
I
even
told
a
her-
dream.
I told her, I'm going with
Wait
you.
a minute, you're getting ahead of yourself.
All right, so
Well,
Mom,
he only gave you 3 minutes.
I'm sorry, I'm not done.
Whose time again?
okay, Nat, tell us a little bit about your part.
I'll go.
in this
Well,
whole Thanksgiving.
I
friends.
I could take 3 days, 4 days and not finish.
Well, what, that means
But
you need to
anyway,
get together
I
more
was
often.
born in 43 in the Rio Tx. We had, during those times, the lady's name was Doña Cholita, and she delivered all the children around the neighborhood.
Oh, she's a midwife.
She
Yeah.
was a midwife. Well, you won't call her, but in
Yeah, she's a midwife.
and now people, so we used to call her the name. But anyway, born in Del Rio, grew up first, second, third through 1961. Graduated from San Felipe High School. My mom and dad, Bernardo and Trina, had 16 children.
Wow.
Including me. Yeah, and 14 of us survived. The oldest one died almost a year later. By the time he passing away, the next brother is, my mother was already expecting my brother that followed the first one, you know, and they named him Bernardo also. Yeah. Oh, we were 14. I was 17, 18. I was 18 when I left Del Rio, and I never looked back.
Wow.
And I settled here. We came in, we moved in.
Did you drive here
My cousin Chapa, Raul Chapa, he passed away so many years ago. Oh, he had gone back to Del Rio to visit from San Jose. He had been living in San Jose for many years. He was a little bit older than me. And I found out that he was coming back to San Jose. And I thought, hey, Raul, can you give us a ride? I'll give you for the gas. And yeah, sure. And we had hopped in his car, and we eloped.
Wow.
We married. We got married
In Arizona.
Piedras Negras, Coahuila.
Yeah, we
You're
did.
18 years old.
Eagle Pass.
No, he was 18, I was 16.
Piedras Negras. We got married in Piedras
Wow.
Negras. Yeah.
We were all young.
They were young.
17,
Everything was
18,
easy for
20.
us.
So you were 16 when you got married. My mom was 16 when she got married. How
I
old
was
were you?
about 16.
I was 19. I was 19.
Oh,
We
You
got
were kids. And going into another state, just
Yeah.
16, 17, 18, not knowing what was ahead of you was,
We didn't know
Wow.
where we were going.
Let Ernie introduce her dad and how old Thea was when she came.
yeah, Ermi, get up here.
Ermi,
Ermi, you
yeah.
need to talk for your dad. Get up here.
Yeah.
And your mom.
Chichi, yeah.
I'm just talking for my dad, I'll talk for my mother.
Yeah, talk for your mom. Oh, go sit down over there, Ermi.
No,
Go
but
sit
no,
down.
I have to say, no, my dad was great, my mom was great.
Yeah. I'll fill in
Let me
with,
see.
about-
Before we
about
start, I gotta say, I always remember your mom with a smile.
Yeah, no, I do
I always
too.
She's
the same.
I think of Banana, I think
She's
of
a beautiful lady.
smile. warm and very warm and gentle
Muy
No.
tejana.
Believe me, I remember all the stories, you know. These guys really had it tough. I don't even know how they did it, but they did it. And I'll never forget my mom, how she would tell me, we used to live in front of Grandma Kaya's house. And Mary used to live next door. Mary Morales used to live next door. And I'll never forget how we used to go out. We used to go to her house for breakfast. We would, you know, Mary would take care of us. Joelle, Robert. I mean, oh my God.
I used to babysit
So-
all the kids.
Yeah.
Because
And
at that time I just had Cynthia and Roger, the one that died, and
And you lived behind Tere and Lara, remember?
Yeah.
They had the house in the front,
they had,
and then you got.
we
you
had the
were
house in the front, and I remember on Loma Street. I
Loma
remember,
Street.
Oh, I was in
Loma,
So
yeah.
I was Loma Street. So
Right.
I remember my grandma used to live in the back, and I remember Gilbert. I remember I used to go and buy cigarettes for him. I would go trade his bottles in for wine. We used to get yellow wine. He would send a note with us, and we would go to we lived
Is that
on
in the
the
corner
street.
store?
There was the little corner store. It was a little liquor store. So they knew us. We would walk in there. Oh my God, I was probably 5 or 6 years old. And they would, you know, it was fun. But we have we have so many stories. My mom just loved my tia so much, and my God, just the memories. I have so much memories, you know. So, and my dad, he's such a good guy. When he first came here, my understanding is, you know, he was a hard worker. He did a lot, you know, and then unfortunately he had an accident and, you know, started going down a little downhill and trying to find his way. I mean, these guys were so young. My mom was my dad was 16, my mom was 13.
Oh my God, yeah, Mary?
Yeah, you have to understand. That was a crazy life, right?
But then one day,
But it
who
wasn't.
died? Is it Rio who the one that died? That they said, you said, thank you for being here and thank me and all that stuff. And then she said her mother was, what did you say? 13, 14?
Yeah, my mom was 13 years old.
Yeah.
I
And
didn't
I
know
don't know.
that.
So I don't know, my mom was 13, and I mean, by the time my mom was probably like 17, there was 5 of us. So I remember going to high school, and when I was in high school, my mom would take us to school, and they would say, "What's your sister doing?" I go, "That's not my sister, that's my mother." And you know, they really worked hard to get where they had to get, and they did a lot of things to survive. And at that age, you know, it was really tough back then. So, you know, they got through, you know, they did the best that they could. You know, there was no, back then there's no book. You don't have a book to how to be a parent, right? There's no book.
There's no TV.
There's no TV. Yes.
There's no TV.
There's nobody in life, you just don't have that guidance.
But I think
So-
she was 14 until the funeral.
Yeah, so it was good, but my aunt and my uncle really guided our family, or me, a lot of me, in the way to work hard and to do good in life and get ahead in life.
So,
And
Fermi,
so-
do you remember how they first came to California, or did they go with
Oh,
you?
First,
I remember.
first my dad came. Yeah, my dad came first. My dad came first, and he became a cook. He was a cook here, and he came first, and then he sent for my mother.
And he was 15 years old when he came?
Yes.
15 years old, just, I'm gonna go work in California.
He came to
That's
us.
right.
Yeah.
You know, the motivator
We didn't have
for
cars.
everyone
We
from
didn't
Del
have
Rio,
bicycles. You just
young
walked.
as they were, was poverty.
Right.
You had to
Poverty
get out
and
of there
work.
one way or the other.
Poverty and work, you
My
know.
mom was a baby. My mom did not. Oh, my mom did not know believe me,
Yes.
how to, I mean, she had 5 kids that she had to take care of.
Why
It
was
was
there another
crazy, so
17.
I can see where they had to depend on everybody.
They
Yeah.
drove
Yeah,
the
I
street to my
agree.
house.
Yeah.
I remember, Jose came first and stayed with Tere for a while. He went back, and then he couldn't make it in Del Rio, and he came back, and Neda stayed with the kids in Del Rio. Jose was here, we were already here by that time, and Jose sent for her in Oneida, and the kids came on the train by
Yeah.
themselves, on the train, you know. Like, what, she must have been, what, 16? 16 or something. She came with all the kids.
Yeah.
And then I took care of her,
Yeah.
which is a baby.
I did.
We lived in St. Louis Street.
My teenage years too, I was with my uncle. I
Yeah.
went and lived in San Diego with him for a while.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
So remember, we used to go to Tijuana?
We used to go to Tijuana.
Buy our groceries, go
Yeah,
back.
buy our groceries, and then Ermi got all her teeth fixed.
Yeah.
We took her to the dentist.
That's where you get the pretty smile.
I'm gonna have to go pretty soon again.
So now,
Yeah.
I remember, when going back to the times in Del Rio, I think the common bond was poverty. But from what my mom told me, multiple families will live in a household under really difficult conditions, but you were happy. You didn't have, you know, the brand new car and the latest fashion clothes, but you were very happy. And from what I understand is you'd make clothes for each other, and you didn't have 10 pair of shoes. You had one to go to school and maybe one to go to a dance. And those were the ones that you were gonna fit into until you broke out of them. Mom, you mentioned that Del Rio was not only, during that time, a very poverty-stricken place to live, but it was a very happy place because you adjusted with what you had. You lived in a household with Blanca
16.
and Beto,
Yeah, 16 of us.
16 of them.
Órale.
Can you tell me how you got to 16?
America had 4 kids. 3 kids, and America and Roma, the husband and wife, in 1 bedroom. Juanita had a daughter, Roma, and but then Juanita had a daughter, and she died and left 5 kids.
Oh.
And then
How old was she when she died?
Juanita.
18?
Juanita was like maybe 25. And then Raul came. Raul was the oldest son. Then came the World War II when he had to go to war.
Oh.
And he went to war, and he helped Juanita to survive with all the 5 kids. And then me, because I lived with Juanita all my life. So there was 5 kids, America and Luma and Letty and Dicky and Betitos. So, how many? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 kids in one house. And then the husband and wife, Juanita, 11, 12, 13, 14, and Mema, Stella, and Olivia, Raul. 18.
And how many bedrooms did that house have?
18 in one house.
How many bedrooms?
2.
America, Juanita's, and the living room and the hallway.
There were 4 rooms in the house. One counted for the kitchen,
Uh-huh.
and actually you sat in the kitchen to eat. Your mother was cooking over here. My mother, we had a wood stove in the 40s, and
Yeah, we did
into
too.
the 50s actually. I remember I was already 10 or 12 years old when my dad decided to take out the stove, a wood stove, take it out and tear down the chimney, and then he extended, the kitchen was on this side of the house, and there was a room over here on this side. So he took out the stove and tore that wall down and made a bedroom over here and the kitchen by itself, and then he went and bought a stove, gas stove. My grandfather lived right next door. I would say that my grandfather was well-to-do because all his life, when he came from Mexico in 1910, he was born back in 1891, and when he came to Del Rio, he actually didn't spend too much time doing heavy work. And I find him living in Langtree, Texas. And him and my grandmother, and it was a ranch on that he was working at. But after that, like by I think it was 1915 or so, he already had a market right there at the same place where that house is still there. My dad's house is right next door, but my dad's house was remodeled, you know. But it still ended up with a kitchen, a living room, and 2 bedrooms, you know. And then that house has always been full of kids. Even after the 14 left, there were
14 in 2 bedrooms?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the parents left in one of
With
those
no TV.
bedrooms.
No TV.
No TV.
Everybody went out to play.
In 1960, I think the TV at our house came in 1960. And the TV was this big.
With big antennas on it.
The only thing you could see was Johnny Carson.
That's it. Oh my God.
So did you have a bathroom inside the house?
No.
No.
None of you
No,
had.
no.
We had outhouses.
Mangueras, a hose, and what?
And a little room that they built outside with a curtain and a
Yeah.
hose coming in through
Oh,
the
that's
top.
your shower?
Yeah.
Shower, yeah.
Oh my God.
Cold water too.
Yeah, cold water.
And the toilet was outside toilet.
It was
It was outside the
Yeah.
toilet?
It wasn't a toilet.
No, it's an outhouse.
It was an outhouse.
An outhouse.
Wooden outhouse. And then our dad, our grandfather, you know, my grandfather had one on his side, behind his house, and we had one behind our house, but down in the corner. But that outhouse, they would have to cover it.
Yeah.
And then move the outhouse a little bit farther away from them, and then dig another hole.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
They would dig a hole 6 feet
Oh my
deep.
gosh.
Oh,
Yeah. They were.
yeah. And they would, you know what they would do? They would cut a moon shape, a crescent shape on the side so it would breathe.
Gross.
Wow.
And it always smelled bad because
Yeah,
there
well,
was no
of course.
cover. There was no.
They don't know if you put the cover down. Newspaper, there was no such thing as toilet
Toilet
paper.
You used newspaper, the ink on the newspaper would.
Whatever you can find.
That's why I have the press telegram.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? Nowadays, there are still people in Del Rio and San Felipe that live like that.
Wow.
There are still poor people, and they've stayed poor all their lives, generations.
Amazing.
And they still don't, they're still there. They don't have the mentality, I would say, the education to say, well, you know, they never went to school, and when they went to school, they had to drop out because they had to work. And they would have, we were field workers. You know, the first time I came to California, it was in 1943. My grandfather had a market, so he had a good business. My grandfather had a market and he would go around town. He would go around Del Rio, he had a campana. And every morning he would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and he would start fixing everything that he was gonna go take out for the day.
Cart.
Yeah, and well, it started with a cart, but then by the time in the 50,
Got a
late
car.
40 into the 50, he bought a truck and he had a truck. And he would go around the city and deliver to all these homes. You know, he would ring the bells and it was mostly wives. Because the husbands were away sheep shearing, or working the ranch, or working and digging ditches, you know. There was no such thing as, you know, I got an education for that. That wasn't that. For the Mexicans, no. No, for the Mexicans, it wasn't that way. And Hispanics, Mexicans, because we were all Mexican, they struggle, and my generation was still struggling. And if I had stayed in Del Rio, I would be the poorest guy in Del Rio, you know? Yeah, because there's a lot of people like that. And I used to bust my ass. You know, my dad,
We should do
my dad would take us to work the fields. Or he would send us to work the fields up into the Texas plains. We would chop cotton all day long, walk the miles down in the sun, 100-degree, nada, you know. So we would do that. That was a summer vacation. The teachers would ask, what did you do for summertime? I went to San Jose for vacation. Oh yeah, what did you do? Tell us how much fun you had. Oh hell, we picked prunes, we picked tomatoes, we picked peaches, we picked potatoes, and yeah, potatoes in Shafter, prunes in San Jose, tomatoes down in Salinas.
And,
You know.
and avocados at my house.
I remember
The avocados.
Yeah.
So, Mom,
And they were good. You got some.
Oh,
You
yeah.
all ate those
Yeah.
So aguacate.
I don't know anything about planting, right? So they gave it to me, a little tree like that.
oh, it got
And
big.
when I went and put it right there by the fence.
And it
So
turned
it's
out great. I
between
remember
that
that.
place and my house. Because a tree grew in the middle here. And the neighbors got half of it and I got the other half.
That's pretty
And they
cool.
good like that. Those avocados, you need to take me to that ranch. You know about that. A lot of people know about those avocados because they were totally different. It was a new avocado that they were gonna plant it. And they did plant it in on the other side of what is the next stop to that way? You know, where is Ramiro Valley? Where did
Oh,
you,
over in the valley?
the ranch over there?
Lake Elsinore?
Yeah.
Lake Elsinore.
Lake Elsinore.
Yeah, and that tree girl, and that tree's still there. And you know, I haven't thought because I've been sick and no energy, to go and say, can we have some so that I can at least give one to everybody to see, because they're not like the avocados here. This was a new avocado planting. And
Remember that?
all the,
Yeah.
when you go to
I
our
had
store,
big ones.
the big hill like that,
Yeah, I know.
they